We're good?
We're good.
All right. Well, seeing it's 7 o'clock, I'd like to open this meeting. This is the March 23rd meeting of the Planning Board. Tonight's meeting does not have any business per se, other than we do have, it is a public meeting. There isn't anyone here other than the board. We do have an agenda that we'll go through. It's short, so we have an appointment for the empty full-time seat. Planning board member Charlene Anderson has resigned from the board as she was elected to the select board. So I've gotten her resignation, and so that leaves an open seat on the planning board. And it would, more than likely, it would be great if one of the alternates were on there, but it doesn't have to be. We had asked if, you know, get news out.
We've had the ad for 2 weeks on the website, and we've had no responses whatsoever.
Okay.
Except for alternates getting back to us, so.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think, Buzz, you had indicated you weren't really interested in that.
Shouldn't we introduce ourselves first?
Oh. Thank you. I think, well,
Buzz
since,
the new chairman, is that what I heard?
yeah, well. I was just jumping into the agenda. My name's Dirk Rodenheis, and go around the room and we can introduce ourselves.
Teresa Bascom, alternate.
Robert Davies, alternate.
John Moore.
Charlene Anderson, Select Board Rep.
Edward Veal.
Dirk Rodenheis.
Susan Mooney.
Gary Anderson.
Paul Colby, Code Administrator.
All right. So, then I'll just turn to Paul. Were any of the alternates interested in the position?
I have heard that there's a possibility one is and one isn't,
Okay,
so I will let them speak for themselves.
yeah. Any of the alternates interested?
I would be interested.
Okay.
And I would take the position at the behest of the board, but I would also prefer Teresa to have the position if she wants it.
Okay.
There you go, Teresa.
What's that? So, you know, it's, it would be needing to be appointed by the board, and that seat would be filled until the next election period. So it's basically a one-year seat that would be until, again, next election.
Question, do we have to make a motion to accept Charlene's resignation, or is that, there's nothing, I know on some boards they do.
It's more of a formality.
Like someone could try to resign, you could say no.
Right, yeah. It's more for the town clerk's record keeping more than anything.
And I would feel.
Yeah, and I have to do it, so, by law.
Yeah, no, I know.
Yeah. I'd hate to have her go to jail the first week as a selectman.
Well, what if we voted that we don't accept it?
In this case, it would cause a problem. If it was just a normal vacant, like someone is saying, you know, they got elected and they no longer
Right.
want to be on the board, we could say no, and they have to sit in that seat. Or technically, they're still in it until,
We won't strap you to the seat.
yeah.
All right. So if you're interested, I think we can bring it up to the board. If you're on the fence, we can wait another week. We don't have, or till the next meeting. We don't have to have it
No.
filled right now.
It's up to you guys. I mean, like I said, you know, we have indication from the 2 alternates. We've had no public indication of looking for the full-time seat. We've had a few people talk about possibly thinking it as an alternate position. And I said, well, fill out the paperwork, and we have yet to see any of that, so.
Okay. And we can have multiple alternates.
We have up to 5. Yep.
Right. So if we do seat an alternate on the board, it would be great to have, you know, fill that position.
Oh, absolutely.
So, drum up some business. Well, the alternate had indicated interest. I'd entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we appoint Teresa Bascom to the empty planning board seat for the term, remainder of Ms. Anderson's term. I think it's 1 year.
Okay.
A second.
There's, any discussion? Seeing none? Those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Joe would vote 6-0 because the seat's vacant. So procedurally, what happens now is, Teresa gets sat tonight as an alternate to fill the empty seat still. You have to get sworn in by the town clerk. And then at our next meeting, you'll be the full member. So you should seat her to fill the empty seat as her alternate position tonight.
Okay, so,
Not that it matters, because we have no cases, so if we just want to keep
Right.
it, the vote, six of you voting tonight, that's up to you guys.
okay, so I would seat Teresa Bascom in Charlene's empty seat. How's that? So she has a full voting right for this evening. So the next thing is election of officers. I didn't talk to anybody, but I'm the chairman from last time. I'd be happy to do it again. If you feel there should be a change, I'd be happy to be on the board as a member.
I nominate Dirk for chairperson for the planning board.
Second.
Any discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? I can't vote against myself, so. Motion passes.
Well, you could, it would be odd, but.
It'd be hard. Thank you. I will take that on, and I do appreciate it because, you know, I've just been in this chair position for a year, and I feel like I'm just starting to get used to it a little bit, so I'm a little bit more comfortable. And I appreciate everybody's input throughout the past year of corrections and
Nudges.
some nudges, so I really appreciate that.
Including tonight.
Any other,
We
oh,
have
we have
the vice chairman, the secretary, and the CIP representative.
okay. So I would nominate Ed Veal as the vice chair.
I second that.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Welcome back. And then we have a secretary.
Secretary's position, yep, currently Susan holds that position.
Is that still a position that you would like to continue with, or is that a position?
It's fine, it really doesn't have
Any
much to
duties?
do, except whenever.
And according to your bylaws, her really duties, if both you and Ed aren't here, then she's the acting chairman that night.
In the past, I've done notes or minutes, but not recent.
Mostly the newsletter and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nominate Sue Mooney as secretary.
Second. Thank you.
Motion and a second. Those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None, unanimous.
And your CIP representative, currently it's John.
And would you like to continue that, John?
No, I would not.
Okay. Is there anybody else at this point would like to be the CIP representative?
Can you give us a little more information, John, on what that's entailed, like in the past?
Basically, you're forecasting future expenditures of the town and the budget. You meet with all the department heads and you go over it. And last year we met, it was the 3 Board of Selectmen and Gene Reed from the building department. Excuse me, from the,
Assessing.
no, not
Budget.
assessing.
Oh, budget
that's the
committee,
one I was
okay,
looking for. And then this was a 5-member board. Meets basically late September, October, November, and then sometimes runs into December.
Yeah, maybe I can give a little bit of an update from the Board of Selectmen that I think is appropriate for the CIP. So we discussed the CIP at this past Board of Selectmen's meeting on Monday night. The goal is to switch it back to kind of the way it was, and not have it be 3 boards of selectmen and then just a couple of other individuals, but it be, planning board and school board, and so that's it's gonna go back to how it has been, the way it's been, and then the goal will be to get everything completed by September versus December. So that will be one of the goals of the CIP, to meet earlier than they have been in the past, and to have the CIP kind of pulled together before the big budget process goes. So the meetings would probably be more towards the summer months, and then finishing up in the beginning of fall.
In a CIP representative from the planning board, is that a member of that CIP And have voting rights and all of that, yeah, okay. Still looking for interested parties. Ed, you asked a question, so.
I'm just leery because I do have a baby.
Yeah,
And-
okay,
and-
let's get to the real matter. You're here
Yeah,
tonight, so obviously you're not a new father yet, so.
Waiting any moment, but. And I'm starting a new job on May 1st, so I've got a lot of learning to do. So I'm a little bit nervous with that. I don't want to commit to something and not do full service to it.
And we don't, I wouldn't think we have to nominate them, or that we don't have to put them in tonight, since the position really
No,
only
and,
is.
I mean, and even Buzz as the alternate, you can take that, if the board wishes, you could take that position. It doesn't have to be a full member, it can be anyone on the planning board, so I'm guessing from Monday night when I was there and listening to the conversation, you're not gonna activate this committee in the next week, so I think we could hold off. Are you comfortable saying that? Yeah.
Yeah, I think
we could-
so.
All
Yeah,
right, everybody think about it a little bit,
I remembered one other position.
and then, what's that?
When you finish that, I remembered one other position you gotta appoint.
Okay, so I guess just,
Yeah.
if you're interested, do a little homework, ask around a little bit, and then hopefully we can have a planning board member interested in doing it.
I don't even do our budget at home.
Stratford Regional Planning Rep.
Gary's been.
There's a term on that.
Yeah.
Is his up?
I think it's gonna come up soon, but I figure if we do it now, when it does come up, if you guys are okay, we'll just,
Didn't even know there was a term.
yeah.
It is.
'Cause I'm trying to remember when you had it, there was a term. Let's
I
hold
got-
off on that one and I'll look up the term,
Yeah, I
yeah.
got, it is termed, and I got reelected, I think, last year, and it's a 2-year term, 2 or 3 year.
Yeah, I'll look that up, so we can hold off on that one too.
Good to know.
Yeah. Okay, so, that's all the officers we need to elect, so status quo for the most part, except for John. And the bylaw update, so we do have our own bylaws and the board bylaws, and these are basically the rules and procedures that we go by, and they haven't changed very often. In
We
fact,
did a lot of changes the last couple of years, or you did. You know, if you wanna make changes, that's fine, you can discuss it tonight, and we'll note the changes for your approval at the next meeting. If you feel there is no changes needed, we have a new signature sheet for you to sign tonight, and we'll just add it to put the new dates on it, and go from there.
so this was last updated a year ago.
A year ago, yeah.
Yep, March 2015. And it can be amended at any point during the year.
Yep.
I don't think we need a motion on this, right?
Unless you guys want, unless somebody has a change to suggest.
Does anybody have any suggested changes?
No, I thought it looked good.
I thought it was fine.
Yeah.
Okay, then we'll, before you go home, you have the new signature page ready?
I have it right here.
Oh, you have it here. Our request is, do you all want a copy of the new signature page to add to your bylaws? If you do, we will, just let Joanna know, we'll email it to you.
Oh, that would be good. Yes, thank you.
Okay, Joanna?
Okay,
Email is fine?
Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
at this point, that closes, I'd like to close the public hearing. No. And would open it for public comment, but seeing that there's no public that's here, we don't have to do that. This would be the time that we normally would have the Board of Selectmen, or staff update. So I guess I would turn to Charlene, you had just mentioned it, that you went to the
Yeah, so
first
the-
one, and
Yeah, so
probably-
the CIP, I think, was the one thing I just wanted to highlight, and, I don't know, for folks who were at the town meeting, the bathrooms, issue that was brought up at town meeting is gonna be fixed, and the goal is to fix it before the summer camp, or spring camp.
Yeah.
And other than that, our meeting was pretty similar to this, where it was kind of just, welcome. So there wasn't much to it, but,
and we welcome you to this board as the, as the select board, or select board off.
Hey, there was a big fight on the board of
Charlene?
selectmen
Yes.
to get Charlene in.
Could you go into a little more detail on what the change in the CIP is? Compare what it was last year to what it's
Yeah.
going to this?
So, and John, you being part of it, you probably know more, but
Well, for the past 3 years or 4 that I've been doing the CIP, I don't remember how many it's been now. They've always, it's been a late process, and I think it's great that you guys started early. That makes everything so much easier, especially when people are getting, for the town, like the fire chief and everybody, getting their information in, and then having better communication with the school board will make it go a lot nicer too. You meet maybe twice a month, during the busy time, so there's probably gonna be a total of 10 meetings at the most, I would say, that you go to. And you're basically, if you go into the town report, you can see what the CIP, you're basically just going over the numbers and projecting what the numbers might be in 5, 6 years.
So what you're
and
saying,
fixing budgets.
what you're saying is that things are gonna be more organized, doing it the way,
It should be more organized this year.
Yeah.
Correct. It should be way more
Yeah,
organized this year.
and besides the members that Charlene said, you'll be staffed by the town administrator, and then you'll have someone taking minutes like Joanna
Right,
does for this.
before we
meeting.
never had the town administrator there, it was always done by just one of the members, and it was,
Yeah.
members doing it on their own time, so it made it a lot more difficult. Where this year, actually, even though the way it went down, is still more organized than it's been in the past, which was good, so.
And I will speak, as a department head, it was encouraging to hear they're gonna start earlier, because anything that goes in the capital improvements plans, people can budget for accordingly, because that's the same time we'll be doing department budgets, and it gives the selectmen and the budget committee a fair, in my opinion, a fair representation of what monies we need to look at now and in the future.
It's a real interesting board to be on, because you see, you're forecasting what's gonna happen in 7 years possibly. So, I mean, you do get to see future expenditures that might happen. Not everything's set in gold, it's a working document, but, you know, for future expenditures, like, for instance, you know, we knew about the fire truck almost 3 years before, that this was gonna come up for the ladder, for the quit, you know? So, there's different expenditures like that you get to see. So, I found it very interesting, but it's time for somebody else to put their opinion in.
thank you.
All right, any other,
Just to update you,
Updates?
on the planning commission meetings are canceled. They have still not scheduled anything that we, so, and it looks like they may not even do it that this year, the conference.
OAP conference.
Yeah, it's one, what, you went to
Wow.
Litchfield last year or something? Yeah. We have,
Is that lack of interest?
I don't know, that you can't get a straight answer out of them.
That's all right.
Last Thursday, I was at a meeting, a law lecture meeting on auxiliary dwelling units. There's a new law that has passed, you talked about it a little bit, the governor has signed it, it takes effect July 1st, 2017. That'll give towns enough time to change their zoning ordinance. Our zoning ordinance is completely, except for one thing, follows a new law. Currently, we limit it to 1 bedroom, that has to be taken, we have to change it to any number of bedrooms. We already have in there, and it was nice, Jack Meddy and I sat together, so we were comparing our ordinances, he goes, yeah, we're good, except for that one. The other issue is, and you and I talked about it a little bit Monday night, impact fees currently, currently we do, that's one of the exceptions for impact fees, because it's a 1 bedroom. The question came out by another town, what do you do with impact fees for that? Because they're like us, they would exempt it. And the lawyers are saying, because it's multiple bedrooms, you technically could have kids in our apartment, they should be paying the impact fee just as well. So we'll need to tweak that. Some of the 2 minor tweaks. The other requirement is that it, which we have, it has to be, one of the units has to be owner occupied. Some towns say the main house. And in the case in point there was, you know, we live in the main house now with the family. My wife and I get older, the kids take over the main house. We can move in there as long as there's. So that's on that, so we've got plenty of time to get our ducks in a row for that. Our next meeting, we're gonna have 3 cases, 3 subdivisions. We have, if you remember, a year or so ago, on the corner of 156 and French Road, the backlot, Owen Friend Gray came in with a backlot subdivision. he said he'll get the paperwork in this week, so we'll see that one. Minor one-lot subdivision. Smoke Street, we had talked about originally 4 lots, they've actually designed it for 5 lots, 4 2-acre lots and 1 just under 12 acres, 11 point something acre lots. That one, we have all the plans in, and we'll get you copies of that. And tomorrow, we're supposed to see the plans for Flutter Street. They're proposing, they're gonna come in with their, a rough drawing of the open space, and they'll show the yield plan, for 24 lots is what they're shooting for. And why we won't see the final plans of the engineering is they wanna have, I asked them if they wanted to come in conceptually, they said nope, they wanna fully apply. We'll negotiate how many lots, do they keep the 24 or what, and then they'll start their engineering based on that meeting. You'll have future coming up because for zoning board, we've got 3 cases for them next week. 2 of them will result in either lot line adjustments or subdivisions coming in. The 3rd case is we have our first administrative decision case to waive the impact fee. Reading at the application, they do not meet any of the exceptions in our zoning ordinance, so it'll be up to the ZBA to decide. And then we'll have another 2-lot subdivision coming in soon. I met with the people that own the land on Shore Drive. It's 149 acres, John? 148, 149 acres. They want to cut just 2 12-acre lots off for the son and daughter. They're in the they got to go through zoning because of the private road. They just met with us today, so we're going to have a busy summer. And if you haven't looked, Maple Ridge is well under construction. They hope to start building houses
Wow.
in April.
Great.
So that's all I have, sir.
Sounds like a busy spring. That's great. Gary, you have anything?
I wasn't able to make last week's Friday morning meeting in Stratford, but that planning board has been sending off something called bits and pieces. You may have seen it. So that's kind of the gist of what's coming out of those meetings when I am not able to report on it, so.
The bits and pieces, I get the email, Joanna gets the email. Would you like us to forward that to all you? Comes out on Fridays.
I get the email too.
You get it too, as the chairman, yeah.
I would say yes, yeah.
Okay, you wanna just,
Okay.
it'll probably get forwarded by one of us on Monday or Tuesday, because I usually get it late Tuesday afternoon when I'm home.
Mhm.
So
Sure, sounds good.
we'll get it to you as soon as we get it in the next day or two.
Going back with the ADU update,
Yep.
so if we have to change the bedroom requirement, and everything, this may be another time where we wanna look at if we wanna, institute something like, I think Dover has a very quick, like, permit process to have, like, an ADU, and there's requirements, and it's just recertified every year. And then other towns do something similar, but
Yeah, and under the new
So we
law, can't do that anymore.
so you can't require, like, the main house is owned by a family or
Nope.
whatever.
Either unit, the law states either unit has to be owned, owner occupied.
Yeah, either.
Right, but, and that was the question, do we start checking deeds, do we start checking motor vehicle records? And the lawyers said absolutely not. That's a loophole this legislative passed that it's unenforceable.
Okay.
Right, the other big thing is you have to have a connecting door between the two. So the question came up, what if you build it over the garage? And the answer was, as long as the upstairs, the apartment comes into a breezeway, and the house comes into a breezeway, because they did not define what connecting door means.
But it can't be in a detached garage.
It cannot be, well, it can be if each town, that's the option each town has. If you want to allow them in detached, that's the only free choice in this law we have as a town. Currently, we don't, and the majority of the people in the room do not allow that in detached. Some do. The next meeting in June, that's a 3-session thing, is on addressing some towns, I forget where the town was, they actually allow up to 4 units, the main house and 3 auxiliary units detached on a 2-acre lot. Yeah, like, most places call that an apartment building, but, we're gonna talk about small houses, detached ADUs, and I forget what the third topic is, so.
Tree houses?
Actually, that one hasn't come up yet, that's coming next.
Stay tuned. Sue?
Yes, the Conservation Commission, the past several years has benefited by, meeting with the Board of Selectmen on a quarterly basis. You know, just to open up, dialogue and talk about, items of common interest. And we would like to do such a program with the planning board. And hopefully, we would be, welcome to meet with the planning board May 25th, which is a workshop Wednesday, to just discuss areas of common interest and things like culvert design and more greener initiatives and things like that.
Okay.
So if we could
That
put that
sounds
on the agenda.
Does anybody object if we take a little bit of time at one of the Wednesdays meetings to, Conservation come in?
May 25th, I think.
25th.
Let me just double check. And we're having a workshop tomorrow night, yes, the 25th, to just go over some items that we thought would be good to discuss with the planning board, and hopefully set up a precedent where we'll do this periodically.
great. Ed?
Nothing new for me.
Charlene, you already spoke. John? Buzz? Teresa?
No.
Okay. Well, the last thing we have is minutes. Since everybody read them, and we should have very quick edits, and then we can,
Yes, and we answered it too.
yeah, there are just a couple of minor edits.
Somewhere,
We should get them all
yeah, I'll
read.
just say them so that, and then I'll hand it, but, somewhere between 7 and 8, just notate that Buzz, Mr. Davies was seated for Miss Mooney. And then down at line 36, Eversource did not send a member as requested, did not send a member or clarification information as requested.
And just as an update real quick on that, we did send them a certified letter. We have not even, and it's a week ago, and they have yet to acknowledge they've received it, so.
And then line 40, change would to will. Line 51, after Marston property, change is to are.
What line was that?
51. Line 75, my last name just got transposed. But we should make an edit to that line. Mr. Beal asked to have the agenda and other meeting materials be added to the town website. And then line 77, the adjournment, I know that it was, everybody spoke at once, but Donna, Ms. Danis made the primary, and then everybody spoke for a second, so you can leave me on there.
I didn't make the motion.
That wasn't Dirk.
Who was it, Gary? What did you say? Charlene or Gary?
Donna
Oh,
Danis.
Donna.
She made the
Okay,
primary
I
motion.
thought I heard Anderson, that's why, yeah.
Nope,
Okay.
that was all the edits I saw.
Anybody else have any comments, edits? Seeing none, entertain a motion to approve the minutes from March 9th.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve minutes from March 9th, 2016 as amended.
Is a motion a second?
I'll second.
Is a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Those in favor, aye. Those opposed, unanimous.
If any of you want your new zoning ordinance punch, the three, we brought the 3-hole punch there. And Teresa will just, I don't know if Lori's still here. If not, there's a form they gotta fill out. If she's not, we'll get that before the next meeting, so.
So that's all the business we have for this evening, so I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second?
Those in favor? Say
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned.